It's the Odd Drunk Podcast, a very strange podcast, the drunkest show in the world. It's Jackson and Colton talking out of their ass. We don't care as long as drinks are poured. Sometimes we have our friends here. We will talk about anything. We don't care as long as we have beer. And if you let that whiskey ring. The Odd Drunk Podcast.
But yeah, I'm hoping people figure out how to put in new models because I really want armor mods. That'd be cool.
Ghost of Tsushima has already got mods?
Yeah,
In the workshop or Nexus?
Nexus. They don't have workshop yet. I don't know. I don't think they will, but it's mostly like texture mods and things like that.
I want to play
so
as
far.
the last Ronin from the Ninja Turtles.
Oh yeah. I want the
We're talking about
yeah.
Welcome to Odd Drunk Podcast. We're talking about ninjas tonight. Ninjas
Yes.
and samurai. Oh my. All all those things. And yeah, we've been playing a lot of Ghost of Tsushima because that released on PC recently, the PC port, the Director's
Yes.
Cut edition or whatever.
I'm only like
Fantastic
15
game.
hours into the game just because of my gaming schedule. I don't get a lot of time for it, but honestly, I know it's a game that came out a couple years ago or a few years ago, what, 2020?
Yeah, it was
Um,
the last big game on the last on PS4.
but I think it might be my game of the year for 2024 so far.
That's fair.
Uh,
It technically is a new release, sort of.
and on the Steam Deck, I'm loving it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I played on the Steam Deck and on my PC.
Yeah.
And it's great.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you can get it looking. I mean, it looks really nice anyway, and you can play on like you don't have to set the settings all to low to get it to run at 40 on the Steam Deck. You just have to adjust like a few weird things here and there.
Yeah, I pretty much have it at medium, and then I
Yeah.
use AS or the AI enhancement. I
Yeah,
put that on like
the
balanced
don't remember what it's
quality,
called.
and
FSR.
it works.
Um,
Well, that's a different thing. That's the scaling.
right. Yeah.
Yeah,
No, but
there's a couple different things you can throw over it to
yeah. But damn,
basically, yeah.
like being able to play that while I'm hanging out on the couch with my partner while she watches her TV show. And
I want to I want to play it. I want to play Ghost of Tsushima on a Japanese bullet train
yes.
on a trip to Japan, Tokyo.
I'd
Or
love to
no,
visit
better
Japan
yet,
sometime.
a trip to Tsushima.
Yeah.
I want to play Ghost of Tsushima and Tsushima.
Well,
Okay.
I do you remember what it was after the game had come out, there was some sort of like natural disaster that happened, like flooding or I don't remember what it was. Like in Tsushima in real life. And
Oh,
because of the
really?
popularity of the game, they were able to raise a bunch of money for like
Did the developers raise money?
no, just people just donated and stuff like that.
Oh, because
To
they're
because
aware.
it just
It's
kind of raised awareness that Tsushima is an actual place because a lot of people don't
it
think about it
is.
much. Um
And
and
from what I've experienced in the game, it's a beautiful place.
yeah.
Lots of Mongols though. You know, you gotta take care of your Mongol
Yeah.
problem. I also, since this is and I just with any Japanese or foreign otherwise topic that we cover, I just want to just get ahead and say I apologize for any
Oh yeah.
mispronunciations or any
Yeah.
accidental
We
blunders.
I gotta say
Um,
already last week, I don't even remember what we were talking about last week, but we
I
talked
have a
briefly about
Godzilla shirt on, so
oh
you know.
sick. That's a cool shirt. Oh yeah.
I'm good.
But
But yeah, I just want to.
last week we talked briefly about Assassin's Creed, the new one, and I
Mhm.
have to throw this out there. I was pronouncing the guy's name Yasuke. I think it's Yasuke. I think I was mispronouncing it the whole time.
Okay.
I
Uh,
don't know. I heard someone say that Yasuke is the wrong pronunciation, so I want to apologize for
okay.
that.
I'm sure you got more to talk about.
Yes.
Butthead.
Or no,
And I
actually,
also want to
maybe.
give a shout out, since we are covering a Japanese topic other than this is our first Japanese topic other than Godzilla. But I want to give a shout out to our Japanese listeners, I have noticed. Um, thanks for listening to two dumb Americans blabber on and get drunk together.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
I'm sure that is exactly what they
uh,
think we are.
that's
Because we
exactly
because
what.
we kind of are. You're not wrong. We're a couple
Yeah,
dumb
hey,
Americans,
I
but
accept it.
hopefully we're some
Yeah,
entertaining dumb Americans.
yeah, that's the idea. We're
Yeah.
we're here. We're all here to have fun. Life's too short, you know what I mean? We're all here to have fun. Uh, so yeah, we're gonna get into. I We were just gonna talk about ninjas, and they're actually known as shinobi. I know
Yeah.
this. Um, but we're also gonna talk about samurai, and we're gonna just talk about how we're going to talk about historical real historical samurai ninjas
Hmm.
and just the history of it, and also the huge impact on pop culture.
Oh
I mean,
yeah.
there's so many ninja forward um IP out there. I mean, obviously you have the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, you got the
Hmm.
Power Rangers, you've got
I mean,
Naruto, you've got
they're everywhere.
everything. Anytime DC and Marvel uses ninjas, like with Marvel with the hand ninjas,
Hell,
and
even James
Ninja
Bond
Turtles is
has
the foot
ninjas in some of
ninjas.
their movies,
Yeah.
which we'll talk
And
about that a little bit.
Ninja Gaiden, all the
Um,
games. It's just great. There's a lot of ninja stuff out there and I also want to talk about, uh, well, I knew about this, but in the 80s, there's a big panic, mostly in the UK, about ninjas.
oh,
Because obviously in the 80s there was a huge ninja boom in pop
yeah.
culture, and the UK government actually banned like ninjutsu weapon, any kind of martial arts weapons or in imagery. We'll get into the
Hmm.
Ninja Turtles and what happened with that, uh, because it's just kind of hilarious.
Yeah.
Uh,
We'll talk
uh,
about that. Well, I mean, there's great stuff in pop culture. There's also some weirdly like weird stuff, like what you mentioned. The whole push with fake martial arts studios trying to push
oh yeah.
ninjutsu and
Mm-hmm.
stuff. That's a whole thing, which is
Be 1 second. Then we'll
a
get to
lot of
what we're
fun.
drinking.
Yeah, I'm drinking water. Well, right now I am. I have other stuff to drink.
All right, I hope you held them over, Colton.
Yes, I
You
told them
held our
about the
audience
water that I
hostage.
was drinking.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that nice clear. Yeah, I got some clear liquid here.
I do too.
It
Yeah, I have another.
looks like this could be anything,
Yes.
but
Um,
I will tell you what it actually is.
I bet I can guess
Um,
what it is.
I am drinking,
Yeah,
and I will post pictures of both of the things I'm drinking. Sorry, I had a bottle in front of my face. Um,
that's a cool
some
bottle.
sake. Um, and I'm gonna do my best here. Junmai Dai Ginjo Sake.
Ooh, I have the same kind of sake that I'm drinking.
Are you like the same exact?
Not the same brand, but the same style.
Oh, okay.
Junmai
Yeah.
Ginjo Craft Sake. I have a different
Yeah.
brand here,
The
but
brand I have is Hakutsuru Sake since 1743. And
ooh,
this, and
wow.
I'll post picture and everything and type hashtag it. But this, from everything I researched, I went to a Total Wine because they pretty much have
They have everything.
everything. I mean, they're local liquor store killers, though.
They're gonna put us all out of business, yeah. But
Yeah, but
but
they
but
do
they have
have like
everything. They
pretty much every
I don't blame
option.
you.
They have a not a huge, well, pretty decent sake selection, gotta say. Um, Over in their like exotic aisle or whatever they call it. Um, But yeah, it's great stuff. I mean, I'm definitely no expert when it comes to sake. I've had it a few times. Um,
Yeah.
I was really into it, and honestly, I'm probably gonna get into it again because I I know you can enjoy it hot. It could be a great like winter's drink,
Yeah.
but I
I'm
gotta
a,
tell you, I love a nice cold
mm,
chilled sake.
yeah.
Um,
I mean, in a lot of ways, sake is more similar to beer than it is to wine. Um, 'Cause it's made with a starch.
right,
So yeah, cold,
rice,
refreshing
right?
sake. Yeah. I I'm not an expert on sake. I've from 2 years working at a liquor store have had the chance to try
Yeah,
a good number of
ingredients.
them. Um, I've got Momokawa medium dry sake
I think I've
here.
had that before.
It's a really
Yeah,
decent one for the price. It's like under $20 a bottle, like 17, 18, something like that.
yeah.
There's better ones that I could
This
have
one was a
gotten.
little more. It was like 32.
Yeah, there's some better sakes I could have gotten, but I didn't want to spend too much tonight. So this
Right.
one's good for the price. I did read up a little bit on sake because I was going to be drinking it. I figured you might have some too. So
Well, before you go on to some more sake talk,
yeah,
um,
yeah. Do you have something else?
I also have. I've been wanting to try
Ooh,
Japanese whiskey for the
ooh,
longest time, and
nice.
I didn't do much research. I just picked one that was a decent price, and I asked if it was good, and of course, they told me it was good at the
Yeah.
store. But, um, and I did have a little sip before the podcast. I'm not
Mm.
gonna lie, to you are the listeners, mostly the listeners. I don't care if I lie to Colton. But Toki Suntory whiskey from
Mm.
apparently the founding house of Japanese whiskey, established in 1923. Um, and that's all it says. But
Yeah.
product in Japan, it's legit.
There's some good Japanese whiskeys. It's
But look up Suntory. Uh, it's how can I describe it? Very, very smooth,
Mm.
which is a generally a good thing. It's very
Yeah.
smooth. And this isn't this is like this is bottom to mid shelf Japanese whiskey.
It's
I could have
expensive.
yeah, it is. I most of them ranged from like 80 to 120 and that's not even top shelf obviously.
Yeah.
Um but for just affordable Japanese whiskey, this stuff is fantastic. Oh, it does have a bit of a info here.
Oh,
A vivid blend of whiskeys. Oh, it's a blend. That's a little cheating, but that's why I got it cheap.
yeah.
Well,
Hey,
relatively
well,
cheap.
I mean,
Um,
I want to throw out there, blended whiskey should not be
Still,
considered a bad thing. A
yeah,
lot of people, because of the history of blending whiskey, um, people think negatively on it.
right. They
Blended
think it's
whiskey can be
cheap,
delicious. It's just
and it is.
the history of it is before we have laws, at least in the US, and I know other places have laws about this too, of like
Nice rectangular
you
bottle.
have to say you have to like you have how you label your whiskey is very specific on how it's produced. Um,
Right.
and blended whiskey is, I mean, the bottled and if you ever see bottled and bond on a whiskey bottle for like bourbon, what that basically means is that it is in compliance with the Bottled and Bond Act, which has rules. I don't remember all the rules, but it's like it has to be aged for a certain amount of time. It can't be blended. It all has to be produced in the same facility and aged in the same facility. There's a bunch of requirements. These days, it doesn't matter so much because it's so easy to, it's the market is in a place where it's really easy to find quality blended whiskeys and to
Mhm.
do research and find out what you're drinking. But it comes from an era where whiskey producers would blend whiskey in order to create a cheaper product that they could have a larger margin on for
Right.
selling. So blended whiskey has like a negative like thing associated with it, but these days it's
Mhm.
not. It's not negative. It can be good. There's some
I'm gonna
excellent
put you on my
blended whiskey
main
out
screen
there.
because I keep looking at my other screen, but the camera's on my main one. So it looks like I'm like ignoring you.
That's
Um,
okay.
but it says it's a vivid blend of whiskeys from Hakushu, Yamazaki, and Chita distilleries.
Huh.
Silky with a subtly sweet and spicy finish.
Mm,
Yeah, there's a bit of that spice towards the
nice.
end of it, but it's pretty much I would describe it as silky smooth.
Hell yeah. Correct
It's
me if I'm wrong, but isn't
exceedingly
Japanese whiskey Wolverine's drink of choice?
yeah. Let me pull that up. I mean, we've got our Wolverine commentaries in leading up
Yeah.
to Deadpool and Wolverine. Deadpool's next. That's probably gonna
Yes.
be the next episode.
Yes.
And I wanted to get a Japanese whiskey for one of his, but it just didn't work out. But his favorite is of course an expensive one. Um,
Of course.
well, actually, Wolverine's favorite drink in general
It's
is
beer.
beer.
Yeah.
But if he had
Isn't
like
there a whole
a
like
choice,
comic arc where Wolverine is like sent back in time and teaches
he
like Neanderthals how to make
drinks
beer?
beer.
And then when he
He
goes
he's
forward in time and the timeline's changed, he tries beer and he's like, that's a damn good beer.
yeah. Yeah, basically with time travel, Wolverine was the creator of beer. Um,
I love that.
but he would choose the top shelf liquor like Hibiki whiskey. The whiskey
Mm,
is a beautiful mix of flavors that includes apricots, orange blossoms, marmalade, and cinnamon. Um, and I've looked it up, and it is definitely not on the cheap side. I mean, you don't want it to be cheap anyways, right?
yeah.
Um,
There's if you want some
it's
fun stuff to look out for, so Kentucky Owl, um, which I've had on the podcast before. Um, and it's generally a very expensive bourbon because it's
mhm,
definitely more expensive than you should be spending on bourbon. Like it's more
right.
expensive than it's worth, but I got my bottle for free for reasons. Um,
Nice.
but they did, and
Oh,
it's a less expensive bottle, and by less expensive I mean like only 120, $30. But they did a collaboration with Takumi. Um, so it's like a blend of a Japanese whiskey and an American bourbon, and it's
okay.
pretty excellent. Very good.
Nice.
And you can definitely
Um,
taste like the Japanese like whiskey in
Hibiki
there.
whiskey goes for just for the standard around $100. If you wanted to get your hands on a 21-year-old
Ooh,
bottle of Hibiki whiskey, that's gonna cost you a clean 1,500.
wow.
And then I saw this at Total Wine. Look up the Yamato Armor Japanese whiskey.
Yamato Arbor.
Yeah, it's literally a whiskey with like samurai on it, like
Oh, sick.
samurai armor. Yeah. If it, but it's 160
Maybe a little
bucks.
gimmicky, but I would totally buy that.
Hey, if it tastes good,
If it's good, if it's worth it.
right. And then
Yamato does have cheaper
actually, I wouldn't even want to
options.
open that
Yeah.
bottle. That would be the bottle you open like at a like at a high level like Yakuza meeting. And then it's like actually poisoned.
Yeah.
Like it's a cinematic bottle.
Cinematic bottle.
It's something like in Breaking Bad where they poison all the cartel guys with that fancy tequila.
Yeah.
It's like that.
Or just for a special
Anyways,
occasion. But
or
but
just for special occasions when
yeah.
you're killing an entire gang
Yeah.
family.
Yeah, yeah. This is the bottle you don't this is not the bottle you poison them with. It's the bottle you open up to celebrate after you've poisoned.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you would.
Yeah.
Well, you would want them to all want to try it though.
Yeah. Oh, maybe you
You
can
would.
let them try it and then poison
This would be
them
the bottle.
as
That would be the
as
bottle you poison. The Hibiki 21-year-old is the one you would enjoy after your
right.
success.
Yeah. Yeah. Or maybe you can have a bottle like this, and this is you just let them try this bottle as a
Mm,
kindness before you poison them.
mm.
Yeah.
But
That's
either
that's
way, they're being poisoned.
yeah, yeah, either way, yeah.
And
If I was a crime boss, that's how I would do it. I would treat my guests to a nice drink and a nice dinner and then poison them as a kindness. I was
well,
like,
the
you get a
idea is the
nice
poison is in the drink.
well, maybe you could cook it into the dessert, maybe, or you know how some desserts you have some wine that you like pour on top of it. You could
That's
poison
what you
that little
do.
wine. Yeah,
And
yeah,
then and they're like, "Why aren't you having any?" Oh, I'm full. I
yeah.
had
I'm
enough.
full. Yeah, yeah. That'd be a good excuse why you're not having the
But if
poison
you were
stuff. Because
smart, you give yourself the antidote, and then you have it,
yeah,
so they don't think anything is amiss.
yes,
Anyways, that's some
but
advice
yeah,
from
but
the friends here.
yeah.
Anyways,
I have some sake history here. I did a
yeah,
little bit of research.
there's the missions in Ghost of Tsushima, the sake guy.
I just did a side story where you save the sake distillery.
Oh
And
yeah,
afterwards they're like, would you consider just like staying here with us? You can have as much sake as you want on the house. And
tempting.
I'll be honest, I might have taken them up on that offer if it was an option. But Jin is he's an honorable samurai, or at least wants to be.
Or is he?
He wants to be.
He does what's necessary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no,
That's all right.
sake is I don't like I said, I don't know I haven't learned a lot about it before, but I'd looked up a little bit before we recorded. You know, rice fermented drinks like rice wine have been made in like China for
Hmm.
5,000 years. I mean, forever as far as, you know, modern drinks go. But sake came over to Japan about like 2,500 years ago.
So pure.
Um, and the for a very long time, unfiltered sake would be kind of what lower classes would drink, and
The
clear,
cloudy,
yeah, the
yeah,
cloudy stuff, which can be good
which is good.
sometimes. And like the clear, more filtered sake,
Milky,
like
yeah.
what we're drinking right now, you and me, um, is what like the emperor would drink and what the
Hmm.
daimyos would drink and stuff like that.
Pure.
Um, and but there was a long period of time um, where sake just kind of the art form was kind of not lost, but wasn't as popular just because like during the imperial period at some point the government in Japan nationalized sake distilleries and just pumped out cheap like mass produced sake. Um, and it really wasn't until like you know last 20, 30 years something like that that sake as a like a
I think the
craft
cat's
industry.
Japanese.
Yeah, are they
She
drinking the
really
whiskey?
wants the sake.
No.
Is it
um
sake or sake?
Sake, I don't know. I um but yeah,
All
it
cats are
was
Japanese. That's my conspiracy theory.
all of them. Yeah,
Have you seen those cat cafes?
I have. Yeah, I want to go to one. That'd be fun.
I think we have one here,
Hmm,
but
nice.
nah, one's enough. One's enough allergies for me.
But yeah, it's only like the last 20 or 30 years that the sake has kind of blossomed into a craft industry. Um, so we're you and me, I think, are lucky to have such good sake options at all. Um,
Yeah.
even in the
Well, it's
US where we probably don't have the best sake. We're lucky to have what we have.
well, I was so tempted. They had like 6 packs of sake. They had like, the different flavored ones,
Mhm.
like, and there was a lot of next time there was a lot of Korean drinks next to sake. I think it was similar, but it was
Soju.
like So, yeah.
Hmm. I don't actually know what makes soju different from sake, but I know it is different.
Well,
I've
they had a lot of
never tried
flavors, like
it.
melon flavors. There was like a grapefruit one,
Yeah.
Um, but honestly, just some nice, pure, smooth sake.
Honestly, I love sake. It's
Can't go wrong.
I like
It's
I'm pretty um partial to serving it hot or warm.
oh yeah,
You don't want it too hot. That's um because you have to
burn
heat it
alcohol
up
out.
the proper way. You're supposed to you boil water and then put the container with the sake into the hot water.
I see.
That's how you heat it up. And some sake you can buy comes in bottles that are designed to be able to put this whole bottle straight in to the hot water.
Oh, that's cool.
So you serve it. I like it warm, but honestly, I'm drinking this at just like
Room
somewhere in
temperature.
between, like not quite room temperature, but like not like super chilled, but little bit chilled, and it's delicious.
I'd say mine's around room temperature now. I didn't have it in the fridge long. Um,
I just love sake. I like it more than wine, I would say.
really,
Yeah,
that's bold.
I'm a big fan. And it's clear, so like you can just be like, I'm drinking water.
Yeah, yeah,
What is this mystery drink I have in my
yeah. Just
glass?
just
It's
smells a
just
little funny.
it's just clear liquid.
But yeah, great stuff. Anyways, let's get into this. So I have a few things here.
Yes.
Um, and I'm sure you have a few things, but I think to kick this off, I want to talk about, and I may or may not be reading from an article. Okay, I'm gonna be reading from an article.
Okay, that's
Okay.
fine. I got all my information from articles and YouTube videos.
Uh, let's be real, guys. We're here to have fun and
Yeah,
hopefully get some education
I
out of
guess a
this.
disclaimer.
I had a busy week. I had a
I,
busy week,
I guess
man.
here's a disclaimer before we actually get into the topic. We try our best.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, that's
I
all they need.
like I
That's all
have a
that
degree in
they know
history
that.
and you have what a
They
minor in
know.
history.
Yeah,
We
they
we
know.
like to think that we know how to responsibly do
I just
research,
never really
but
studied Japanese
also
history.
yeah, we don't it's not our specialties, and
I like
also this is just a
I like some
podcast.
anime. I like
This is
Miyazaki.
not. Yeah.
Both Miyazakis, actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
Studio Ghibli Miyazaki and Dark Souls Miyazaki. Both
Both are
great.
excellent.
Yes. I
Kurosawa,
they're they're showing
film
some Studio
a
Ghibli
film
films
legend.
that oh, Kurosawa, yeah.
Yeah.
He pretty much inspired Star Wars
Yeah. Yeah.
and uh yeah, the Magnificent Seven. That's originally
Yeah.
Kurosawa, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Seven Samurai.
yeah, the Seven Samurai,
Hmm.
and also produced by Toho.
Yes.
If yeah,
Yeah.
and we know what
He
Toho is.
knew Honda, who did Godzilla,
Mhm.
and apparently Kurosawa liked Godzilla. That's what I read a while back.
Nice.
um,
I also like Godzilla.
I do too. We
Gojira.
have something in common with Kurosawa.
If I was imagine this, a Godzilla inspired samurai armor and Ghost of Tsushima.
That would be sick.
Inspired, not just like you're in the rubber suit, which would also be great.
I mean, I kind of just want the rubber suit.
Just the no, not even that, just a model, just a Godzilla model, just put on the Jin,
That'd be awesome.
and then
Yes.
make the Mongol leaders like King Kongs or whatever. I don't
I
know.
I do
Or
want to throw out, now that you say the Mongol leaders, something I realized the main Mongol general, I don't remember his
oh yeah, and
name,
all the cutscene.
um, is played by the same actor who played Attila the Hun in Night Museum.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. And when I realized that, it made me very happy.
Now is Ghost of Tsushima historical fiction?
Yeah. It is a real event. Very little that's depicted in the game actually happened. But
It's just loose.
the battle at the beginning of the game was a real
Mhm.
battle. And the Mongols did invade Tsushima and Iki Island
Yeah.
twice. They tried twice. First time was successful. The second time there was some hurricanes or some
Well, Jin
storms
Sakai
that yeah,
did all his stuff in and his standoffs. Anyways, this is an article from Lifehacker, Australia, mate.
Mm.
Today I discovered the UK government's irrational fear of ninjas.
I want to hear about
And
this.
just
Yeah.
this is from Chris Yeager. That's such a Australian name. So yeah, I just want to be clear. That's what I'm referencing.
Yeah,
This isn't this isn't a college course, so I'm probably
what I
not.
was
Yeah, we'll put
yeah,
links. I
what
don't
I
know.
was
We'll put
what I
links.
was
We'll
getting
put
to
links.
earlier that I didn't quite finish saying is take everything we say with a grain of salt. This is not a history podcast. We just like history a lot.
Well, also,
So we
don't think everything we're saying is just coming from the top of our heads,
yeah,
okay?
we
And we
did do
always
research.
we always clearly state when we're reading something or
Yeah.
whatever. I don't
We we
try to
we
act
did
like.
we did
Anyways,
do research, but we're not pretending like we went through all of the effort to verify sources. We did
oh,
some
I wrote
research
scripts.
online and all
What
that
if we
sort of stuff.
wrote a script? Anyways,
Yeah. What are you talking about? We
today I
always write
just
scripts.
yeah, every time. Today I just ChatGPT does a great job. Today I discovered the UK government's irrational fear of ninjas. Ninjas, aka shinobi, were covert mercenaries in feudal Japan who were trained in the arts of espionage, sabotage, and guerrilla warfare. So they were basically spies.
Pretty much. Yeah, I
Um,
if you look at
and a lot of
what I
people,
was reading is that like when you say they're spies, it's like literally if you
yeah,
watch a James Bond movie, the stuff you see him and the CIA doing and that sort of stuff,
well,
that's what ninjas were
like,
doing. They were blending in with people, like they were doing
yeah.
spy
Well,
stuff.
I've heard a lot of things that ninjas or shinobi were like farmhands that were rebelling against samurai, and
Yeah, that's
I'm
not the case.
it yeah, there's always been this mythology that I've heard throughout my life about ninjas that they were against the samurai. They might have been against particular clans, but
Yeah.
they worked with and for
There's what I
samurai.
one thing I read when I was preparing for this was that there's kind of two types of shinobi.
Hmm.
One would be what you and I don't, there were words for this in Japanese, but I don't remember what they were. But one would be basically an open shinobi, so kind of like it'd be someone who is like a spy master, like they are in
Hmm.
their lord's court.
Right.
But what that person is doing is they are directing, kind of like if you watch Game of Thrones, what like Littlefinger and these guys are doing in Game of Thrones, where they're just manipulating things behind the scenes. So they would be like they are a public figure, they're in the court with everyone, but they are behind the scenes, have their spies, and those are the other
Hmm.
kinds of ninjas that are like not
In the
even all
field.
of the
Yeah.
not even all the ninjas who work for the same lord might even be aware of each other because they were
Right.
that secretive.
But there was always this mythology painted about ninjas and samurai that they were enemies and all this stuff. And
Oh
like
yeah, I mean
uh
I mean
and I'm
it's
sure there's some truth in that. Um but yeah, from what I've gathered is that they were basically spies
yeah.
for the samurai. Anyways, going back to the article. In the 1980s and early 90s, they became a popular subject matter in Western entertainment, with countless masked assassins popping up in movies, TV shows, and comics. For some reason, this freaked the hell out of the UK government. British MPs have had a habit of overreacting to fictional media. In the 80s, they banned so called video nasties, aka R rated horror movies, from sale. A video store displayed uncut copies of Dawn of the Dead, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Evil Dead, etc. The owner could find themselves tossed in jail. Then there was the whole Mary Whitehouse movement, which frankly begs belief. Is this an Australian thing? basically some old ninny didn't like smut on TV. Yeah, okay, this is definitely Australian thing. And almost
You gotta say it
succeeded
with
in
the right
having the
accent,
BBC.
Jackson.
Right, mate. I can't do it. I can't do an
Yeah, you don't
Australian
have to.
accent. I really don't want to. Shrimp on the bobby, mate. Anyways, I
You
can
don't,
sit
you don't
through it
have to. Yeah.
badly. Um, but by far, the weirdest instance of government-fueled moral panic was the crackdown on ninjas. To this day, certain ninja-related paraphernalia remain illegal in the UK, not just to sell or own, but to even see. I know nunchucks. I think they're still illegal in Canada,
Huh.
at least. Um,
Aren't nunchucks
I own a
like
pair of nunchucks.
a fake weapon? Like
They're real. They're totally real. What are you
no, no,
talking
no. What
about?
what I mean is like historically,
Well,
they're not a weapon. Like they were invented by like these fake martial arts studios. Like nunchucks were not used
don't do that to me.
historically.
But that
Like they
might be right. Hey,
because
nunchucks hurt. When they hit you in the nuts, or they hurt. Anyways, you can look that up.
I'm gonna look
But
that up.
anyways,
I might be wrong,
well, it's
so I'm gonna look
actually
it up.
nunchaku. Uh,
Yeah.
anyways, we understand the reasoning behind the prohibition of real-life ninja weapons. Nunchaku, shuriken, and katana are controlled weapons in the UK for good reason. These things can kill people. However, the widespread censoring of ninja-related entertainment is a lot harder to justify. Until the late 1990s, it was essentially illegal to depict nunchaku, that is, two sticks connected with a chain or a rope, in any form of entertainment, even when aimed at adults. The government run British Board of Film Classification, the BBFC, would only grant a classification once the offending weapon had been removed. Consequently, thousands of British Kung Fu fans never got to see Bruce Lee's iconic nunchaku scene in Enter the Dragon. This is also the reason why the PAL versions of 90s video games always substitute nunchaku for weird bendy sticks. Namco's Soul Blade is perhaps the most memorable example of this, with the character of Li Long
Oh.
trading in his arsenal in nunchaku for a highly unconvincing three-section staff. Also, the film adaptation of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles uh, was forced to censor scenes of Michelangelo using his signature nunchucks for a UK release. On the animated TV show, he was given a grappling hook instead.
Oh.
And also in the UK, and this is not me just reading from an article, I just know this, they had to be called the Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles. So all Ninja Turtle related IP and stuff out of the UK was Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles, and I've even played some of those ROMs of
Yeah.
Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles.
I love when I find a ROM. That's one of those
Yeah.
weird releases. Here, this is what I found. I didn't find a lot, but it does say here that it is a traditional East Asian martial art weapon. In Japanese, it's referred to as nunchakuga. So it's like a Chinese East Asian weapon.
Mm-hmm.
Says origin is unclear. One traditional explanation holds that it was originally used by Okinawan farmers as a flail for threshing rice. Another weapon called the tabak toyak, native to the Philippines, is constructed very similarly, suggesting that it and the nunchucks are descended from the same instrument. In modern times, it was popularized by the actor and martial artist Bruce Lee.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the
So,
classic Bruce Lee scene.
so I mean, I guess they are real, but my understanding has always been that modern pop culture and like
Well, yeah,
fake martial arts studios
romanticize it.
romanticize it and make it out to be more of a big deal than it actually would have been. My understanding is that they just weren't, at least not a common thing.
Right. But anyways, going back, the BBC considered ninjas to be far too violent for a children's TV show. Consequently, everything related to the franchise, including comic books, video games, clothing, and toys, was renamed Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles, specifically for the UK market. Nowadays, UK's Cold War on the Shinobi has slowly begun to thaw, as you can finally call Turtles ninjas and watch Enter the Dragon uncut. But you still can't buy a pair of sticks connected to a string. That's ninja gear.
That's awesome.
So
I love
yeah,
that.
a little history on that ninja scare in the 80s. Now, going back further in history,
Yeah.
much further. Uh, I mean, I have more stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
But I'm sure you.
I mean, I did a lot of. I figured a lot of the pop culture stuff we could just talk pretty
Yeah,
off
we
top
can
of our
just.
head about.
I mean,
I have some stuff pulled up, but I did do a little bit of research on ninjas and samurai. Japanese history is not something I know a ton about. It's something I should get into more. The two topics in history that I've been like itching to like I should actually get some books and read is Japanese history, and also recently I've been reading a lot of stuff up on Central African history, like in the Congo, which is
oh yeah.
fascinating. Um, but so I guess you can kind of say that ninjas are connected in a way to samurai in history because um ninjas kind of came about during like the warring states for the Sengoku period, which would have been the
Feudal Japan, right?
yeah, that would have been the 16 and 1700s. No, maybe. Don't quote me on that. I would have to
Yeah,
check.
that
Uh,
like
let me
14th to the
let me see
18th
here.
century.
Yeah, Sengoku period starting the Onin War marks the beginning in 1467 marks the beginning of the Sengoku period. Um, and that lasted essentially until 1603 when the Edo period started. And then that lasts essentially until the Meiji Restoration. There's smaller like sub periods in history if you want to get technical. But ninjas kind of came about during the Sengoku period, and they were um, that was also a period in time where samurai were like the meaning of what was a samurai was changing as well. So for a long time, what I found was samurai there was a distinction between just like the warrior class and samurai. Samurai, you had to be specifically like answering to the shogun and all that sort of
Yeah.
stuff. And then during the Sengoku period, because there was so much war and violence going on, that there was a lot that kind of the definition of what was a samurai got extended to meaning like the whole warrior class. Um, and that's when ninjas kind of came about because there was obviously a need for espionage.
Espionage, and also they can employ the shinobi to do the dirty work, the stuff that would dishonor you as a samurai. The ninja can do it and
That's yeah,
not be
that's true. I do want to kind of point out that when you actually start reading about historical samurai, the whole like Bushido honorable samurai was not always the norm, especially during the Sengoku period. That's
yeah,
kind
for
of
sure.
like a romanticized version of samurai. Samurai absolutely played dirty.
Well,
Like,
yeah.
like,
Well, and I would even say use employing ninjas would be
yeah,
playing dirty.
yeah.
Because they do the sneaky sneaks, stealth. Whenever you do the stealth mission, or you don't have to do stealth in Ghost of Tsushima. That's up to you.
There's definitely been times, a few missions where I had the option to do stealth and was
Help
even
hostage
encouraged.
situations.
There's been a few times where I avoided it. I did recently the mission in Act 1 where you go to the you have to go to the blacksmith, Taka, his that town,
Mhm.
and you have to defend the civilian, save all those civilians. And I think it
Yeah.
encourages you to be stealthy. And it was kind of a pain in the ass, but I did not do stealth in that mission. I challenged them
What
to
difficulty
open
are you on?
just medium or the like the default. Um,
I would honestly recommend hard is just stupid, kind of busted. Enemies are really spongy. Yeah, you can
I've
take a
heard
lot of damage.
the hardest
But
whatever it's called, lethal.
lethal
I've
mode,
heard that's a pretty good. Yeah,
lethal mode's actually the best because enemies pretty much die as fast as you can die, and
nice. I like
combat
that.
encounters can last 5 seconds
Mm,
between a couple enemies, like just a couple decisive strikes,
nice.
and but you can have encounters that last a super long time, and then all it takes is one bad move and you're dead.
Mm,
You're done.
yeah. But yeah, that whole
I
mission, it
mean,
was kind of a pain in the ass because there was a few times where some civilians got killed and I had to start over from a checkpoint. But I was like, no, I'm not gonna be all stealthy. I'm gonna challenge them all to open combat
face to face.
and slice them
I
down, which was
love
fun.
the standoffs,
Mm,
and I've got it upgraded where I can take like 5 guys in a row.
nice, nice. I I like the feature that when you're clearing out a base and there's only a few guys left, you get the option to challenge whoever's left
Mm-hmm.
to
Yeah,
just
well, that's
yell
good
out,
because you
"Come
don't
and
have to
get
like go
me."
find everybody.
Yeah, which
Yeah,
is it saves you time and it makes you feel like a badass, being
yeah,
like, "Come and get me, you bastards!" Like,
you cowards.
yeah, I love it. We're gonna
Yeah.
probably multiple times this episode go on little rants about Ghost of Tsushima.
Well, I gotta
Um,
say, it's got me into this, and also there's the show Shogun on
yeah,
Hulu.
yes,
Um, I've been wanting to check it out. I have no reason not to check it out. I just finished X-Men '97, so I'll probably check that out soon.
nice.
Um, so
I've
yeah,
not
it's
been
all
watching a
definitely good.
whole lot of TV. X-Men 97 is, I think, next on my watch list right now.
It should be. It should
Yeah.
be.
But I don't know. I think when it comes to the history side of this, we're just gonna what I just mentioned there is kind of a brief little thing.
Mhm.
Uh
Well, I have a
but we're
list.
just gonna go into it as we go, I think.
We love our list.
I think one thing I do want to mention that I read a little bit about is kind of how ninjas entered pop culture in the first place. So during the Edo period, ninjas became less of a thing because they just weren't needed.
Hmm.
And then kind of starting in that period and especially kind of into the Meiji period, um, they started entering like Japanese myth and stories and things
Hmm.
like that. So this is where you start to get the idea that ninjas have elemental abilities and
Yeah,
stuff like that. And that's that
like
kind
Mortal
of
Kombat. You
yeah.
know,
So like you get stories during the
Scorpions of
starting in the
Japan.
Edo period and especially in the Meiji period about that where and it's just this is a period in their history where they're just romanticizing the past a little. They're starting to romanticize the
Just
past.
like we've romanticized
Yeah,
the taming of the West and all that stuff.
exactly. Yeah. Um, and my favorite little bit that I found, this is going to be one of those fun facts I bring up at parties and at
Oh, I
bars,
love fun
um,
facts.
is that the in
Oh,
pop
I saw
culture,
a drunk
the
fun fact.
yeah, but there should be a little jingle that goes when we have a fun
I'm gonna be
fact.
getting a soundboard
We should, yeah, that'd be awesome.
at some point.
Oh, but the traditional all black that ninjas wear in pop culture,
Yeah, where did that come from?
they would not have worn that in real life because I mean, most of the time they would have worn clothes that actually help them blend into crowds.
Yeah, right.
They would have dressed as merchants or often monks.
Hmm.
They would have used like wakizashi, because they were smaller. The whole ninja sword, whatever it's, I don't remember what the people call it, that straight blade, that was not a thing. Um, but the whole, and if they were doing like nighttime stealth stuff, they would have worn gray or a navy blue because black does not blend in as much as you think it does.
No, well, it just
Like,
depends on your environment. Yeah.
well, I just in general, like at nighttime, a dark gray is going to blend in better than an all black because an all black is going
Right.
to be a
Yeah, if you're just
silhouette that
wearing
stands out.
stark black,
Yeah.
yeah, you're
But in
it's like with my cat.
Japanese, yeah,
She's blacker than black, so I see her because I see this
this
black
thing
thing
moving
in my
around, yeah.
yeah.
Imagine if she was a dark gray.
No, yeah, that would be
That
tricky. Um,
um but in during the Edo and the um Meiji period in Japanese plays in stage plays, there were stage hands, and there's a word for this which I don't have pulled up right now and I don't remember, but they have a name, and they would be basically a stage hand that would wear all black with a head covering, and their idea was that they would go onto stage and move props around, or maybe be a prop, like they would, you know,
mhm.
and the idea was that you were supposed to ignore this person because they're,
Kuroko?
I think that might be it. Um, and that is where the ninja garb comes from, is these stagehands basically for theater. Because when they started having ninjas in in plays, the way you would depict someone who is hiding in the shadows, who is stealthy, that you don't see, that and you could surprise the audience, is having one of these stagehands, a person that they're on stage but the audience is conditioned to ignore them and pretend like they're not there, and suddenly they pull out a dagger and like actually do something on stage that's like shocking. It's like, whoa, I didn't see them there. So that's the
Yeah,
origins of that traditional, like in pop culture, that all black ninja garb is
so
these
it says
stagehands.
this convention was extended to kabuki actors depicting stealthy ninja. Historian Stephen Turnbull suggested that the stereotypical image of a ninja dressed in all black derived from kabuki.
Yeah.
The theatrical convention of dressing ninja characters as apparent stagehands that imply stealth and to surprise audiences contributed to this popular image. In contrast to the historical reality that real ninjas usually dress like civilians.
Yeah.
They weren't.
I think that's a fun like party party fun fact, is that the ninja traditional ninja garb was actually Japanese stagehands.
I noticed we're both wearing black too. That's fitting.
Yeah.
Or is
This
that
is a
black or gray?
this is like a dark
Dark
gray.
gray. Hmm. I see.
I like your shirt a lot. That's really
Thank you.
cool.
Thank you. Yeah, I
Yeah.
do like this shirt.
Yeah.
Thank you. So I have a couple lists here. I have the most
I love
apparently most
lists.
famous ninjas of feudal in Japan, but I also want to talk about the samurai.
Yes.
And it's funny because ninjas have always been more popular in samurai in general, like in pop culture.
Yeah.
Samurai are definitely there, but a lot of times they're the bad guys.
I
The
think
ninjas are
ninjas
fighting
just
against. Even
grab the
Shredder is dressed as a samurai.
yeah. I think
Um,
samurai or ninjas just kind of, I think, grab the imagination more in a
oh,
lot
they're
of
cool. They're
ways.
just cool.
Don't get me wrong, I love samurai, and I mean
I
another
think
quick.
samurai armor is just scary in general, and it's supposed to be.
It's supposed to be. It's
And
badass.
then
It's what it is.
imposing with the big
Um, yeah.
ornate helmets and mask and all that.
Another
So
little side
it's
thing here
easy
that
to make them the villain.
another little side thing here I thought was interesting. I read today. So samurai are often compared to like the equivalent of like European knights during the medieval period.
That's always a part of
That's a
discussion.
big
Who was a
comparison because
samurai
they were the
knight? What's better,
warrior.
a katana or
Yeah. Well, they were the
what's
warrior
better
class.
armor?
Well, just compared in general as like they were the warrior class of their culture. They um had Bushido, this this romanticized code of honor. So European
Mhm.
knights were the warrior class, and they had chivalry, this
Chivalry. Yeah.
romanticized code of honor. And both examples, it is very much romanticized. The reality was a lot more dirty and mean
Of course.
than
Now, do you know what
pop culture.
how samurai armor actually works?
I don't know much about samurai armor. I just know it's
Uh,
cool looking. I like it a lot. Um, but an interesting thing I read today is so like the origins of samurai, like back, in the like the fifth and sixth century AD in Japan, before samurai were really a thing, there were warrior classes in Japan, and there were attempts to there had been attempts in that time period to create like a military like an army in the same kind of model as like how China during that era create like did conscription and created an army. Um and what a similarity that someone suggested, this is not like a for sure fact, but it's just something that we think might have been a thing, is that samurai, what would eventually become samurai, would have been essentially the mounted archers that just leaders and lords tended to end up favoring.
mhm.
And those people, those warriors ended up eventually becoming samurai. And that's kind of this similarity to how knights as a warrior class formed, was that they were mounted soldiers that just ended up being favored by like Charlemagne and these kings. Which I thought that was a cool little connection, even though there's a lot of
So
differences between the two. That was a cool little connection there, I thought.
there's a
Yeah.
lot of history and a lot of differences and a lot of different kinds of samurai armor. The typical kind that you would kind of imagine um, was basically like scaled armor tied together with the cords.
Hmm.
Um,
It's an
so it's all kind
effective
of
way to
tied.
make armor.
Yeah.
Like,
But they overlap the scales and they can be made out of all kinds of different material. There's no like one way to do it. There's a lot of different techniques. But
I mean, sure, like plate armor is
as
fantastic, but plate
time
armor
went
is
on
hard
and
to
as
make.
well with more trade with Europe and with the introduction of muskets and stuff, the armor changed to be basically it's like okay, it needed to be lighter, and samurai armor is definitely much lighter than like plate armor or anything like that.
Yeah.
The idea it's light, but it's also extremely durable, can survive, piercing strikes,
Also, keep in mind
laser
any
pieces
armor,
like that.
including plate armor, it's distributed the way it's distributed across your entire body.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
But as time went on, scales changed to Itazane. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that, which is made relatively large iron plate or platy leather,
oh,
um, and are often steel and leather, um, like iron plated on top of a leather
nice.
pauldron, things like that.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of different.
I do want to,
Uh,
before we get into your lists, I do want to go on it just
yeah.
came to mind, another little side tangent here about katanas. And this has to do with the armor and just a lot of stuff with samurai, and pop culture in general, and how they're depicted and what people think about this. So katanas, there's this thing in pop culture that a lot of like people think that they are just this
People think that.
superior sword. They're folded 7 times, and that just makes it so much better
Well, you know why they do that, right?
because the iron is shit.
They have a lot of sand.
There's a lot of
Yeah.
sand. Technically, I mean, the iron itself is very good, but there's so much sand and crap. They
Mm-hmm.
have to fold it to get the impurities out. I don't want to
Yeah.
downplay how great katanas are. They're really great swords. And I think the methods they developed for
I mean, they were used in
refining,
World War II even,
yeah, and the methods they developed for
or it might have been
refining,
a different,
they were
like
used
a
up to
different
World War
length,
II.
different style. I don't know if it was specifically katana, but
They were they
same
were they were used up to
style.
World War II. I know that I know that that is a historical inaccuracy in Ghost of Tsushima, is katanas didn't exist yet.
Really?
The predecessor to
What
katanas,
existed?
a different type of curved sword, but the
Hmm.
predecessor to katanas was what
But
they
that
would
would
have
be no
used.
fun if you're using the
Yeah,
predecessor to the
I mean,
katana.
it's a video game.
They,
You know, you want to have fun. Katanas are
right?
cool. I don't want
Yeah.
to downplay katanas. They're awesome. They're one of my favorite types of swords. But I hear a lot of people like be like they're the best because of their folded. No, they folded it 7 times because they
Out of
had to,
necessity, not because.
which is ingenious.
Yeah.
Like that's a fan. Like it's amazing that they were able to figure out these techniques because like Europeans had
If
it
that
easy
wasn't a better
with
way to do it,
their
they just.
steel and stuff like that.
Right.
Um but like that's not why katanas are great. Katanas are just great because it's just a well-designed sword, not because of this folding 7 times. And it goes the same with like
Well, and they feel so.
samurai
If you ever held
armor.
like even a halfway decent one, a real one, like the handle feels good with the
Yeah,
wrap and with the beautiful blades.
yeah. They're works of art. I mean,
Yeah.
and it goes the same thing with like
Well, the real
samurai
one,
armor.
the
Like
real
people,
family. Yeah.
sometimes I hear people be like, why didn't they develop like plate armor like they did in Europe? For the same reason why they had to develop the whole methods for making katana is because Japan's a small little island. They're very limited on resources.
Right.
Like that was a big driving thing in World War
Well, and
II,
yeah,
even
it's a
like
coastal
why Japan went
island
to war with the
country.
US because they just don't have the resources, you know. Um,
Yeah.
I that's just this thing I wanted to throw out there is like something that always kind of irks me. People like katanas are
Um,
great, but it's not because of they're folded
I
7 times so they're indestructible. No, they're just really well built swords. That's
yeah,
all.
I want to talk about. I have Japan's 12 most famous samurai.
Mm,
This is from All About Japan
nice.
by Michael Kannert. 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 Um, and it's your typical list. Anyways, I have number 12, Tomoe Gozen. Tomoe Gozen, approximately 1157 to 1247, was a female martial artist who served Minamoto no Yoshinaka during the Genpei War, 1180 to 1185. Uh, Before the samurai became a formalized castle in the Edo period, 1603 to 1868, women were trained to use naginata spears and heiken daggers to protect communities with few male fighters. In fact, the legendary Empress Jingu is said to have led an invasion of Korea in the year 200 after her emperor husband was slain in battle. Though whether this invasion was actually happened remains a matter of debate. The Genpei
Badass.
War, huh?
Badass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Genpei War was fought between the powerful Minamoto, Genji, and Taira Heikai clans, both offshoots of the imperial line. Tomoe had a number of achievements in the war, leading 1,000 cavalry, surviving a battle of 300 against 6,000. Talk about the real 300, and collecting
Yeah.
opponents' heads like postage stamps. And the Tale of Heike, an epic poem about the conflict compiled by at least 1309. It's written that it's in addition to Tomoe's beauty, she was also a remarkably strong archer. And as a swordswoman, she was a warrior worth 1,000, ready to confront a demon or a god, mounted or on foot. As the Genpei War came to a close, Yoshinaka vied for power over the entire Minamoto clan. While he was defeated by his cousin Yoritomo, uh, it's recorded that Tomoe unhorsed, pinned, and decapitated Yoritomo's strongest warrior at the Battle of Awazu in 1184. What became of her thereafter is unclear, and the role of Ona Bugisha faded toward the Edo period. The Tomoe reemerged as a popular figure in Ukiyo-e Prince and Kabuki plays.
Wow.
So badass female
Fucking
woman
badass.
samurai.
I love that.
Yeah, I think that's a great one to start on. Oh, we got a good one ahead.
Oh, nice.
I'm gonna talk about it. You said his name is pronounced
Yasuke.
Yasuke.
That's I think
Hey,
I was pronouncing it Yasuke because that's what I saw how it's spelled.
right, that's what it looks
But
right,
I
but we're
I
ignorant.
saw someone online complaining about people pronouncing it as Yasuke and said it's Yasuke. So I don't know how it's pronounced.
Was he from Japan? Does he knows, or is he just a weeaboo
I don't
that's
know.
correcting everybody?
Might have been just a weeaboo correcting everyone. I don't.
Yasuke or
Yeah,
Yasuke.
yeah,
Um, apparently you're gonna play as him in the new Assassin's Creed.
yeah.
And
He's
let's
he's.
talk about it a little bit.
Mhm.
Ubisoft better to do something very special, and I mean, obviously, it's gonna have the whole Assassin's Creed twist on it,
Mhm.
with all that lore and baggage.
Yeah, I think the lady who's the,
White
the
hoodie,
the other playable character is the actual like assassin.
she's gonna be like the ninja one, right?
Yeah, well, but I mean like also like
But
literally
like,
this
yeah,
is the
literally,
first Assassin's Creed game since a syndicate where the
where they call
assassins
themselves
and
as
Templars
assassins
actually
or
exist
assassins.
as these
Yeah, yeah.
as the assassins and Templars.
Um, but just going back to that, Ubisoft better do something special and not just do the microtransaction trash that they've been doing lately and
Yeah.
live service stuff. Because Ghost of Tsushima is by far, peak samurai game, and it's gonna be. I mean, they already made. They're so ahead of the curve on all these ninja and samurai games. It's great. I
Yeah.
heard Rise of Ronin's pretty cool too.
I've heard it's
From
good.
Team Ninja,
Yeah.
coincidentally, that
It's kind of a
who did Ninja
Souls-like-ish
Gaiden games.
sort of thing.
Yeah, I definitely, after I get through Ghost of Tsushima and I'm like, I mean, I 100% it. After I'm done with that game and I still
Yeah.
have that itch, I might check that one out or check out the new Assassin's Creed. But yeah, so you're gonna play as Yasuke and the new Assassin's Creed, apparently, which is
Yeah.
really cool.
And he
And
was a real guy.
all the ignorant people that are like, blah blah, there was no black. Yes, there was.
It's
Yasuke
it's just
was an
this
African slave.
it's just this whole thing
You
where
not know
like
about the slave trade?
well it's just this whole thing
And
where
also,
it just I was thinking about it earlier. People get so angry about it and I'm just like the only reason you're getting angry is because it's not a white guy. And the only reason that you would accept someone because they'll go like, "Oh, it should be a Japanese man." The only reason you think it should be a Japanese man is because that fits the stereotype you have in your head. That's the
yeah,
only reason.
it can either
You're
be a
okay if
white guy.
you're
It could, if it was like
like
Tom Cruise's American Samurai, or
yeah,
no, The Last Samurai.
yeah, I was about to
If it
say
was like that, people would all be for it. You would
yeah,
have some complaints,
I
but
was
they
about,
would
I
be
was
a
about to
minority.
say that exact thing.
Um,
Like you're okay with Tom Cruise, who was not a historical character.
but I mean, that's a good movie though.
It's a good movie. I love that movie. It was a real event. Tom Cruise's character did not exist. If you're
Yeah,
okay with Tom Cruise, who is a made-up character, but not okay with this guy who was a
it
real
was
person,
real. Yeah, not a character, a real person.
that
Anyways,
just speaks for itself.
Yasuke was an African slave brought to Japan in 1579 by Jesuit missionary Alessandro Villagnano. Uh, is that Portuguese? I think that would be
I don't
Portuguese,
know.
wouldn't it? Or Spanish. Anyways, nobody in Japan had seen a black person before, so his presence caused quite a sensation. He was called to an audience with Odo Nobunaga, the most powerful warlord of the day, who was so stunned by his appearance that he had him stripped to his waist and rub his skin to prove he wasn't colored with ink. Wow. Um, Nobunaga was so impressed by Yasuke's strength and size, recorded as roughly 188 centimeters, 6'2" tall. That, yeah, that would be tall for that. People were just in general shorter
Yeah.
back in the day, anyways. Um, he ended up becoming his personal retainer and bodyguard. In 1581, Yasuke was elevated to the rank of samurai and stationed as Azuki Castle, Nobunaga's crowning glory, where he dined with the warlord and functioned as his personal sword bearer.
Wow.
When
That's awesome.
Nobunaga was betrayed by Akechi Mitsushide and forced to commit suicide at Honnoji Temple in 1582, I'm trying my best here, Yasuke was there and battled
You're not. I wouldn't be doing any better. I promise.
Mitsuhide's forces. He escaped to Asuki Castle and briefly survived. Briefly served Nobunaga's son until he too was attacked by Mitsuhide and committed suicide. I would assume seppuku, the honorable suicide, right?
I would hope so. Well, I was about to say I would hope so, but I
We don't hope.
I don't
Yeah.
I don't think I don't hope for suicide. It's not my place to say anything about cultural
But you would
stuff
hope
like
it's
that.
honorable, right?
But I would hope
Yasuke,
it's good.
Yasuke then surrendered his sword to Mitsushide, who, unaccustomed to samurai surrendering rather than killing himself after the death of his lord, ordered Yasuke return to the Jesuit mission in Kyoto. Whether this was out of disrespect for a beast, as Mitsushide put it, or cover for an act of mercy remains a matter of debate. Thereafter, uh, Yasuke's fate is unclear. Okay, and that's where Ubisoft's gonna, put their twist on it. Though it is possible his presence was recorded around Kyosho in 1584. Nobody is entirely sure where Yasuke was born, though it has been proposed he may have been from Angola, Ethiopia, or perhaps a European-born slave from Portugal. It was Portugal.
Okay, yeah.
His real name,
There's your
I guess that
answer.
would be his original name is unknown, though Yasuke or Yasuke is thought to be its Japanese equivalent.
Sounds like a badass.
They should make a movie about it too.
They have made movies about him. There was an
Oh,
anime
really?
on Netflix a few years back. I haven't
Oh
watched
yeah.
it. I've heard it was good.
Is it like the one that blends CG with
I don't know.
A lot of this, I will say about Netflix animes, there's so many, it just kind of washes over me, and I'm not sure which one is which and which one's like good. But I heard like
Yeah.
the Blue Demon Samurai show is really good.
They've definitely
I
done some
think that's
good
what.
stuff. I thought Castlevania was pretty damn good.
Yeah, and that's like Western anime. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
that's
it's
anime.
still kind of anime.
Yeah.
Anime is I guess it's a show, season 1. But they did something on Netflix. It's like an anime.
Nice.
Maybe I'll watch that. I do have Netflix right now. For now.
Honestly, I probably could just have Netflix and Disney Plus and be pretty damn happy.
I have Disney Plus
Because now that Disney
with
Plus is
Hulu. Yeah.
merged with Hulu, it's all on the same app. It's
I have Disney Plus and HBO, and currently we do have Netflix. My partner's been paying for that because they've been watching Grey's Anatomy, but I don't think we're gonna keep that. But I don't know. We'll see. But I mean,
Yeah.
Disney Plus with Hulu is pretty solid, pretty good service.
It is.
Yeah. Anyway, who's next on your list? If you want to keep going,
Yasuke, but I can go. Let's go down.
Let's get at least one more person on that list. See.
Okay, I'm gonna go to the number 1 then.
Yeah.
Oh, there's some honorable mentions. Oh, I might read about that guy too. That would be interesting. I think they made a show about him too. I think he's in the Shogun show actually.
I've been meaning to watch that. That's on Hulu,
Shogun
isn't it?
show. It's about an American explorer that shows up and whatever and gets involved because they have to throw a white guy in there, of course. Like not William MacArthur, I don't think. I think it's supposed to be William Adams who is on this list. Anyways, I'm gonna go to number 1. Oda. Oh, we're just talking about him. Oda Nobunaga. While Miyamoto Musashi may be the best known samurai internationally, Oda Nobunaga,
1534 through 1582, claims the most respect within Japan. Beyond being a superb warrior and strategist, Nobunaga was responsible for setting in motion the chain of events that would reunify the nation and end the warring states period. While the Ashikaga shogunate nominally ruled Japan during the Muromachi period, 1336 through 1573, outside of Kyoto, the real power came to be held by the local daimyo, leaving the nation regionally fractured. Nobunaga was born into a family with holdings in Ori province, now part of Aichi Prefecture. Oh, I know what prefectures are. This is just human. And following the death of his father in 1551, he united his clan and took control of all of Urawa by 1559. He then defeated his major rival in the region, Imagawa Yoshimoto, in 1560. And in 1561, he went on to attack Mino province, the southern part of modern-day Gifu prefecture, a name it received from Nobunaga himself when he took and I'm also drinking.
Yeah. Doesn't help.
When he took Ngapiyama Castle and renamed it Gifu Castle in 1567. At the behest of Ashikaga Yoshiaki, Nobunaga then went on to Kyoto in 1568 to depose the ruling Ashikaga shogun, Yoshide, installing Yoshiaki as the new shogun. Nobunaga hoped to use him as a puppet leader. However, Nobunaga's power rose. Strong forces began to coalesce against him. He wiped out the opposing warrior monks of Mount Hai in 1571, besieged Iko-Aiki peasants and warrior monks in Nagashima and Ishiyama. I'm not even going to try to say that. Ultimately taking Nagashima in 1574 and Ishiyama in 1580. And when Shogun Yoshiaki raised his own forces against his former ally, Nobunaga defeated them and sent Yoshiaki into exile, thus ending the Ashikaga shogunate in 1573. Nobunaga also crushed the opposing Asakura clan in the Ichian province, now northern Fukui, and the Zai clan in Omni province, now Shiga, in 1573. After his now, and like I said before, I apologize for butchering the pronunciations. I'm trying my best. Thank you to our Japanese listeners for bearing with us. If you turned it off already, if you want to just have fun, go to a different episode. If you know,
yeah,
because you already know all this, I would assume. But I don't want to assume that's wrong of me to assume.
I don't know how they teach history in Japan.
I'm sure they teach it better than we do here.
I'm sure a Japanese person knows a little bit more about Japanese history than I do.
Yeah.
That's all I can say. I don't know anything else.
The two teamed up and used arquebuses to hammer the Takeda clan at the Battle of Nagashino in 1575, ultimately defeating the clan completely in 1582. Through his own strategies and the work of his allies and vassals, Nobunaga succeeded in bringing the southern half of mainland Japan under his control, laying the groundwork for the reunification of the nation. After Nobunaga's betrayal and death at the Hunnoji Temple in 1582, Toyotomi Hideyoshi went on to complete what his leader had started. While Hideyoshi and Ieyasu reaped the rewards of conquest, Nobunaga is remembered as the greatest warrior of the three. Of Japan's three great unifiers, it said, Nobunaga pounds the rice cake, Hideyoshi kneads it, and Ieyasu sits down and eats it. So Nobunaga got it all started.
Nice.
I think that's what it means.
I did look it up here. Character in Shogun is John Blackthorne, who was The character's loosely based off of, it's the protagonist of John Claville's 1975 novel Shogun, and the character is loosely based off of the life of the 17th century English navigator William Adams.
Let me tell you about William Adams.
Please, I don't know anything about him.
William Adams, 1564 through 1620, was the first Englishman to visit Japan. He was the pilot on the Dutch expedition to the Far East, but after becoming separated from the rest of the small fleet by storms, his ship ended up stranded off Bungo, present-day Yusuki and Oita Prefecture in April 1600. The 20 or so sickly crew were taken to Osaka at the command of Tokugawa Ieyasu, who I mentioned earlier. Though Ieyasu was consolidating his power over Japan, he had not yet won the decisive battle of Sekigahara, which would come in October. In fact, that battle, Ieyasu would make use of 19 bronze cannons taken from Adam's ship. Ooh, that's cool. And again brought them to bear against Toyotomi Hideyori at Osaka Castle in 1615. Ieyasu was impressed with Adam's knowledge of shipbuilding, and in 1604 ordered him to supervise construction of Japan's first Western-style ship. Built in Ito on the east coast of the Izu Peninsula, Ieyasu ultimately made Adams a samurai.
Oh, wow.
Presenting him with 2 swords in the estate of the Miura Peninsula in what's now Kinigawa Prefecture, where he came to be known as Miura Engine. Engine means pilot.
Huh.
Adams never fought in any battles, but served as a diplomat and encouraged trade. In 1613, he helped establish a trading post for the East India Company at Hirioto in Kyushu, and though he was forbidden to return home, he was thereafter able to send support to his wife and children in England, though he also married a Japanese woman who had 2 children.
Oh.
Adams undertook various expeditions around Southeast Asia around 1614 and 1619, finally dying in Hirado in 1620, where he is buried. The unprofitable English trading post shut down in 1623. In 1975, Adam's story became the inspiration for James Clavell's novel Shogun. I gotta watch that show now.
I was thinking that
Maybe
too.
read the book too.
Yeah,
Really gotta watch that show now.
definitely want to check that out. Yeah,
Yeah.
nice. So there's some real samurai.
Yeah, and I also have real ninjas too, but I
Yeah.
want you to do your thing.
Well, I think let's talk about at least a couple real ninjas, because I think I want to start going into some pop culture stuff.
I got you.
So
I got you. And you're back.
I'm back. I got some ice
Actually-
cream.
Oh, nice.
It's a drumstick.
Oh, those drumsticks.
With
Nice.
caramel and vanilla.
I love myself some prepackaged drumsticks.
That's what she said.
Prepackaged, yeah. Take that with what you will. Anyways, yeah, let's get into some famous ninjas,
Yes.
or shall I say, shinobi, if we're gonna be accurate here.
My understanding is there's not a lot of them that we actually know about,
No,
because obviously
And-
the nature of their business was
you're not supposed to. know.
not being known.
Yeah.
So
Well, this article, and this article's proposing the whole. They're calling them the samurai rivals.
oh, okay. Well, take it with a grain of
Which-
salt then. But
Yes, and kind of. It was other samurai pitting ninjas against other samurai. So I
Yeah,
guess sure
I'm
they
yeah,
were samurai rivals.
ninjas definitely like fought samurai, but it wasn't like,
But they also worked for them too.
yeah, well,
It
yeah,
wasn't like ninjas versus samurai only.
yeah.
And like it wasn't like, oh, they're like rebels, like farmers and stuff that, which I'm sure happened, but you know. All right, first one. This is okay. Fujibayashi Nagato. I'm just gonna say Nagato from now on. Nagato was the leader of the Iga ninjas during the 16th century, with his followers often serving the daimyo of Omi domain in his battles against Oda Nobunaga. See that we're going against him, going against Nobunaga.
Mm.
The support for his opponents would later prompt Nobunaga to invade Iga and Koga and try to stamp out the ninja clans for good, but many of them went into hiding to preserve the culture. Nagato's family took steps to ensure that ninja lore and techniques would not die out. His descendant, Yasake, compiled the Benzen Shukai, the Ninja Encyclopedia. Apparently, I want to. What's the
I've
Ninja
heard about
look
that.
this up now. I
Yeah.
gotta look this up now.
It's like
I
one
didn't
of
know
the
there was
main
a.
sources we have about like actual ninja like techniques. I don't know much about it, but it came up at some point when I was reading.
Well, we're about to find out about it with the power of Google. Okay.
Just make sure it's not Google's AI telling you about it, because
Well, this article
if
says
you've
in
seen some of the fun
2013.
stuff being spread around online about
Oh God.
stupid things that the Google
Uh,
AI brought up.
I'm trying to find. Okay, the English version. Okay, this is giving me a lot of unrelated stuff, a lot of anime stuff. Okay, let me actually type in the real name with some copy and paste. Or I could ask the AI what it means, but it's probably gonna give me something dumb. Or it's just gonna do what I did. I feel like the AI just looks stuff up also, you know. It just does it faster.
Well, the AI is that's kind of what it does, but it pulls from like really questionable sources. So like
Mm-hmm.
someone,
They'll just pull from anything. They
yeah,
won't
so
even
like
validate anything.
one that I saw someone shared online was they like looked up like a recipe for I don't remember what it was, but some sort of cheese dish, and the Google AI was like, you should add glue to your dish to increase the stickiness of it.
Jeez. I bet
Or
someone actually did
and
that.
the source of that, what the AI was pulling from was like a Reddit post from like 12 years ago of someone jokingly suggesting putting glue in a dish.
Yep.
Like,
Okay. So Bas the Bazan Shukai, 10,000 rivers flowing together to form an ocean, also pronounced Mazan Shukai, is a Japanese book containing a collection of, and this is Wikipedia, by the way, collection of knowledge from the clans of the Iga and Koga regions that have been devoted to the training of ninja. Summarize the main points in 3 volumes of the original ninjutsu book, um, Kenren Sayo, and was written by selecting only those that fit the times. In the beginning, the existence of the original text, Kenren Sayo was mentioned, but its existence has not been confirmed for a long time. However, in June 2022, a manuscript of the second volume of the Kenren Sayo, copied in 1748, was found. It was compiled by Fujibayashi Yasutake in 1676 in the early years of the Tokugawa shogunate. To preserve knowledge that had been developed during the near constant military conflict from the Onin War until the end of the Siege of Osaka almost 150 years later, as well as information on military strategy and weapons. It has sections on the astrological and philosophical beliefs of the times, and along with the Shoniki of 1681 and Nippiden of 1560, made up 3 major sources of direct information.
oh, I think I'm having some connection problems here.
Oh,
Nope.
you're
There,
having connection problems.
That's what I said.
Yeah. Both regions use copies, but the consistency seems to be written in Iga based on the references to a person in our region being a person from Iga. Toward the end of the 18th century, representatives from Koga petitioned the shogunate for a stipend. Among the documents they provided to the government to make the case, their copy was the Bajin Shukai. The copy is still in the National Diet Library.
Hmm.
Books include 2 volumes of thought and philosophy, 4 volumes on leadership, 3 volumes on Yonin, which is open disguise, 5 volumes on Inyan, which is hidden infiltration, 2 volumes on astrology, and then 5 volumes on tools and weapons.
Nice.
After World War II, a limited number of handwritten copies were offered to the public. Few of these copies are in some major national and university libraries. It's recently been retranslated in various languages, including English, French, German, and of course Japanese. Oh, they do. There is. You can get the translation. $35.
Sorry, my mouth is
So if you
full.
wanna, huh?
Sorry, my mouth is full.
No. But yeah, if you want to really get into that, the English version is called The Book of Ninja, first complete translation of the Bashan Shukai, Japan's premier ninja manual.
That's pretty cool. That'd be interesting to actually like look through.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it would.
I don't know if I want to go out of my way to actually buy it and like,
I think I just found a free version.
but if there's a free version out there.
I think I just found the ebook version.
Nice. It should be public domain.
This is an excerpt. The definition of ninja, however, this is in the foreword, but the definition of ninja, however, is not so clear. In my opinion, ninja were those who met the following 2 conditions. 1, they should have knowledge of the skills and arts of the ninja. Yeah, I would assume.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they should work for a clan, have a clear aim, and measures that enable them to fulfill their mutual aim successfully without delay and with the greatest result possible. And that is from Dr. Nakashima Atsumi, chairman of the Federation of Japanese Traditional Schools of Martial Arts in Japan. And yes,
Nice.
I have it right here. Maybe this will be one of the ebooks we do. I mean, one of the audiobooks. When it's just one of us drunkenly reading through something and mispronouncing all this.
But that would be
Coming soon, the Odd Drunk audiobook.
How would you want to do that? Would you want it to be a situation where we start reading and then slowly get drunker, or we start off drunk from the beginning?
I think it's just one person struggles.
Yeah. Just
we flip a coin.
If you ever can't make an episode,
or if you can't make one,
yeah,
and I just really feel like it,
you could just
really going that crazy. Or we could both read it.
Drink a bottle of wine and then record yourself reading a book.
A bottle of sake.
Yeah. Cheers.
Yeah. It's gotta be fit. Yeah.
I don't know what the equivalent would be of cheers in Japanese. I don't know that. But cheers.
You mean like the show? The show?
But
I'd like to see that. I'd like to see the Japanese.
Woody Harrelson, but Japanese.
Yeah. Yeah. I want this.
Anyway, I have a list.
Is it the pop culture?
It's a pop culture related one.
All right, you just shoot them off, and we'll.
So this is from
obviously Ninja Turtles is like one of mine.
Of course, yeah. I think it's the first one on this list. It's Yard Barker, Most memorable ninjas in pop culture.
Eastman and Laird's Ninja Turtles. You know, I've come so close to grabbing the Last Ronin graphic novel. Heard
I
it's
want to
really
check
great
that
stuff.
out. Yeah.
And I heard we're getting a Last Ronin game,
Oh, that'd be cool.
like a God of War style, like modern God of War style.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds awesome.
Yeah. Do you know who? Spoiler alert! Do you know who the Last Ronin is? Which turtle it is?
No, and I don't really care about spoilers.
Who do you think it would be? And also, I don't even
I
think
don't
he
know.
is the last one technically.
I don't know.
It's Mikey,
Mm,
which you wouldn't think because he's the funny, he's
yeah.
the funny one.
All right. Well, this is the most memorable ninjas in pop culture from yardbarker.com by Chris Morgan. It's the person who put together this list.
Yeah.
So number one, obviously, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Teenage Mutant Ninja
Uh,
Turtles, Teenage Mutant
Says
Ninja
no
Turtles,
force.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Heroes in a Half Shell, Turtle Power,
Yes.
Teenage Mutant Turtle Fighting Team. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I
I don't
mean,
know all the
let's
lyrics.
be honest. There might be a couple other contenders, but probably my first ever exposure to even the concept of a ninja
Just the
might
vague
have
concept.
might have been Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Well, they have ninja in the name, and they use
Yeah,
ninja weapons.
like
Okay, and
like
it's really cool.
yeah, and they're still
Apparently
one of my
they were
favorites.
inspired parts by Daredevil, by Teen Titans, and by the
Mhm.
X-Men, and then also like characters like Howard the Duck, Rocket Raccoon, and they're like,
Yeah.
boom, let's make
So it
something
says
amazing.
no foursome has ever had a name that indicated what they're all about, like the
Yep.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's true. These
Yeah.
pizza-loving ninjas have been all over comics, cartoons, movies, both live action and
Have you
animated
seen the latest
animated.
movie?
I haven't yet. I've
It's
been
great. Mutant
really
Mayhem. I
slacking
would
on some.
really check it out.
It says also shout out to Splinter, who taught the turtles, the way of the
Yes.
ninja. Yeah.
Jackie Chan plays the new Splinter.
Oh, nice. Nice. That's a good choice. Next is the Three Ninjas. It says if you were a child in the 90s and you didn't have a discerning taste, you likely uh, you
Three
likely at
Ninjas.
least saw one of the Three Ninjas movies. They are after all about kids who are ninjas. Uh,
Never heard of it.
I'm not familiar with that one. Haru. Who is Haru? Well, you may know him better as the Beverly Hills Ninja, Chris Farley. Yes.
I love Chris Farley.
I love some good Chris Farley.
I haven't seen that one as many times as some of his other movies, but
Yeah, but Chris
great
Farley's
stuff.
great though. Yeah.
Yeah.
Next is Joe Armstrong. Says no, not the guy from Green Day. That's Billy Joe Armstrong. This is Joe Armstrong, played by our actor Michael Dudikoff, is the American Ninja. I'm not
sure
reading
my dad would know about
the
that.
entire. I'm not reading the entire
Please.
things from these.
don't.
Next is Lego Ninjago.
Oh, I know Lego Ninjago.
I do know about it. I don't know a
I
lot
do
about
know
it.
about it.
Apparently the movie is okay for an
fine.
animated kids movie.
Well, I heard it feels like one of their straight to DVD movies, just with a good like budget.
Yeah. Next is Sub-Zero, and then in parentheses, and the other Mortal Kombat ninjas.
Yeah,
So they're grouping Mortal
Scorpion.
Kombat as one here.
Right, of course they would. But yeah, I think that would be one of either Ninja Turtles or Mortal Kombat are like some of my earliest exposures to the idea of ninjas. And of course, I
Yeah.
always wanted to play Sub-Zero or Scorpion or
Of course.
Ermac.
Ermac,
who-
yep.
You know where that comes from? Error Macro. It
Yeah.
was supposedly a glitch in
Oh,
Mortal
yeah.
Kombat 2 or 3. Or no, in
Yeah.
2, I think. Or it might have
I
been
mean-
the first one. Where you get the red version of Scorpion, and
Yeah.
then they made it like a lore thing, and now he's his own character.
And we all know, I
obviously.
mean, you know,
Um,
not we all, but you know, my favorite Mortal Kombat character is Kenji, who is pretty much just like a Ronin, a
blind,
samurai.
yeah,
Yeah, blind samurai.
Um,
I
and
love
you have
him.
Reptile, who was originally just the
Yeah.
green one. Yeah, Sub-Zero, he was blue. Scorpion was yellow. Reptile was green.
I love the
And
development of
Ermac was
Mortal
red.
Kombat lore, how it's connected to just like how they
It's-
made the characters and like the sprites and stuff like that.
Well, in the Mortal Kombat sprites, and Doom also used the same technique. Well, a similar technique where they took
They had actual
basically
real people.
real people,
Yeah.
and they took the images and made the sprites, and then in Doom they made the claymation, well, not claymation,
Yeah.
but the clay figures,
Yeah, I
and
think that's
did
so
the different
cool how
angles,
they
and
did
that's how you
that.
get the sprites.
Let's
And
see
that's why they're
next.
so uncanny.
Yeah. Let's see. Next is Naruto, obviously.
Of course,
Naruto is
one of my favorite animes.
big. Have you watched a lot of Naruto?
I can't say I really have, but it's one of my favorite animes. No, Naruto's cool, but I know not.
Naruto's a weird one where I've watched a lot of it, but I don't remember any of it because it's just the show that I watched in passing
Yelling.
while Caleb was obsessed with it when I lived with him.
And it's a lot of yelling.
Yeah. And he
And like
watched
shouting their
like
fight
he
moves at each other
binged.
before they do their fight moves.
Yeah. He binged a lot of Naruto and I watched a lot of it with him. But
Wasn't he binging One Piece too?
I don't remember him doing One Piece. He did a few animes, but I remember him doing Naruto. And I remember thinking it was good, but I didn't watch enough of it to know what was going on. So I don't actually remember anything
But it really
about it.
plays into the whole mythology of ninjas that they have
Oh yeah.
elemental archetypal powers, and Naruto has like the Nine-Tails Fox thing or whatever.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
you
I
know,
remember
it's
thinking it was a good show. I didn't quite follow it closely enough to know what was going on at any one time when I
Yeah.
did watch it. So,
oh, anime is a blink and a miss type of thing, or the fights can go on for the whole episode and you don't miss anything plot wise, but it's a long fight.
I've not watched One Piece, the anime at
Well,
least.
that's pirate stuff, vaguely pirates.
But my understanding is that One
With
Piece is well
superpowers.
known for having fight scenes that go on for multiple episodes.
Oh, multiple, probably
Yeah.
a whole season.
Um,
It seems. Well, there's like over 800 episodes of One Piece.
it's
at
insane.
least.
Yeah. Yeah. If I decided to
Half of
start
them are
watching One
fights.
Piece, I'd be like, any movies and TV shows that come out in the next 6 months, count me out.
Yeah.
I'm busy. Next is Snake Eyes from G.I. Joe.
Of course.
That's a
Also
great
one of my
one.
earlier exposures to ninjas.
I love G.I. Joe when I was a kid. Yeah.
I know. It's just a shame that none of the movies were.
I don't remember being super into Snake Eyes. I liked the soldier stuff when I was a kid.
Snake Eyes was always my bread and butter.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah. Fair enough,
Yeah.
though. Yeah. I mean, these days I appreciate it more. But when I was a kid, I remember being all about like the assault rifles and
The rootin' tootin'.
the rootin' tootin'. Yeah.
Yeah.
The rootin' tootin' patriotic army guy. Yeah. That was my bread and butter. But these days, I think I would be more into Snake Eyes these days. Next is on this list is Daredevil and Elektra.
Yeah.
And it has
Daredevil Ninja adjacent.
Has a
and
picture of the Ben
Elektra-
Affleck movie.
Great. I love that. That's the reference.
Yes.
Apparently, there's rumors that Ben Affleck will return as potentially Daredevil in a new Deadpool movie.
That would be fun.
Multiverse shenanigans. Are he?
Yeah.
Well, because I think a lot of the movie is going to take place in the Void or whatever in Loki, where like all the Purge timelines go.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So yeah, maybe that's what it is. But I also Jennifer Garner was asked in an interview, and for a different movie, of course, but she was asked if she was in it, and she had a really terrible response, like trying to avoid the question. But she was like, "No, I never heard of it." Obviously
She's probably has a contract she can't talk about.
If they say honestly, and remember Andrew Garfield when
Oh yeah,
it was leaking? He was like, "Oh, that was just a Photoshop or
yeah.
whatever."
It was not a Photoshop.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
you can't trust anything these celebrities say. Um, these actors.
yeah. They're all liars, all of them.
Yeah, it's like they're trying to preserve the surprise of cinema.
Yeah,
Shame on
and
them.
uphold contracts that they've signed
Yeah.
in NDAs.
Well, I
Next,
saw the interview of Hugh Jackman, Ryan Reynolds, and Sean Levy for the new movie, and they kept like going to Ryan Reynolds every time they had like a major question. They were like, "Ryan, you want to take this?" Because he's the executive producer and
yeah,
he's the one that would
he's the one that's
he'll
actually
catch the
allowed
most
to
heat
talk
from
about
it.
it. Yeah,
Well, and he'll catch all the heat.
yeah, yeah. I did watch the other night. We watched The Greatest Showman, and it just
Oh yeah,
reminded me that even though Hugh
Hugh
Jackman
Jackman.
he's known for playing Wolverine and gruff tough guys, he really just wants to sing and dance. That's what
What?
he actually just
Wolverine
wants
is
to
one
do.
of the only gruff tough guys he plays.
Well, he's been in other
I-
stuff. He was like Real Steel. He's did that kind of type of
Yeah,
thing. Yeah, but
that's a gruff tough guy. Yeah.
he just wants to sing and dance.
Yeah.
That's his passion, and he's
And
great.
then
And
and then
my partner at one point was like, "Wow, he's got such a good voice. He's such a good amazing singer." And I'm like,
Mhm.
"It helps that he's so beautiful too.
Yes, of
He's a
course.
beautiful man."
More like huge jacked men. You know what I mean?
You're the first person to ever make that
To
joke.
make that joke, to make that reference.
Yes.
Man, Deadpool's gonna make so many references.
No, I'm excited. I'm very
I
excited. Next on the list is
I love
Ra's al
references.
Ghul.
I love things that I know.
Yeah,
That I
I love
recognize.
knowing
Like
things.
Captain America. I get that. I understood that
Yeah.
reference. I like being that guy. Like in
Yeah.
the latest X-Men night and the last X-Men 97 episode, I was that. I understood that reference. It's that. It's
That's
Spider-Man. It's I'm, you know.
that's me whenever I watch a Star Wars TV show on Disney Plus. It's like, ah,
Oh, they're talking about the thing.
like when I watch Solo, not a great movie, but at one point they
No.
reference Aura Singh, and I'm like, I know
Yeah,
that
I
one.
know. You said something. I know. Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, next on the list is
Boy.
Ra's al Ghul from
Yeah.
Batman.
More of a
He
yeah.
himself
Well,
isn't
yeah. The League
really
of
a
Shadows are
ninja.
ninjas.
Yeah,
He's a
he's the
But yeah, the League
ringmaster.
of Shadows are definitely ninjas. I
He's
mean,
the
in
spy master. Yeah,
Batman Begins, they're ninjas.
yeah. I have a question for you.
But yeah, he's the spy master.
I want to know where you stand on this. Is it
Yeah.
Ra's al Ghul or Ra's al Ghul?
I've heard it. Okay, in the
Because
Arkham series, it's
it
Raish.
it varies
In the
from
Nolan,
adaptations.
yeah,
Like
Nolan, it's Roz. And those are the two
I've
references I know.
heard, I don't know if this is true. I've heard Raz is the more correct like Arabic pronunciation.
Yeah, and his name is definitely like Arabic.
But I don't know if that's true. Don't quote me on that. Um, but yeah,
You
Raz
want me
Al
to pick
Ghul.
one? Probably Roz. I like Roz. Roz al Ghul sounds scarier.
I think my first I mean obviously like the animated series, but like I think the first version of him that I
Liam Neeson.
distinctly remember was Liam Neeson's.
Even though he's not Ra's al Ghul, or
Nope.
it's revealed later on that he is, or he
He
represents him, or
he
whatever,
is
or like
Ra's al Ghul. It's their Christopher Nolan's
it gets
interpretation
confusing.
of the immortality part was that they have a figurehead leader who is
That is Ra's
always
al Ghul.
called Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah, and that's
But
where,
at the
and then
very
Batman gets,
least, Liam Neeson's character is the actual leader of the
and
League.
he's the one. Oh, if you create a symbol, if you create blah blah
Yeah.
blah, you can
Which
live on
is
that will live on forever.
it's an
Yeah.
interesting
Well,
adaptation,
because
like way
Christopher
to
Nolan's not going to do magic Lazarus pits.
yeah.
He
No,
would still be
I
making those movies if he was doing anything like that.
as no, I Liam
I
Neeson
saw
though,
jokingly Robert Downey Jr. and Christopher Nolan were in an interview for Oppenheimer.
yeah.
And they're like, oh, what if Christopher Nolan directed an Avengers movie? And Downey was just like, yeah, he would still be making it.
Yeah.
because he likes everything practical. Or CGI is the punchline. That's what he says,
Yeah.
which I agree.
I love
agree
Christopher Nolan. I disagree with
I
how
think it's bad to be
severely
either
he
anti CGI or I think it's bad to go either way. I think
I
they
think
should both be used.
well, like he says, like what you said, like where he says like CGI needs to be the punchline. He takes
No,
it to the
CGI isn't the punchline. It shouldn't be the punchline. It should fill in the gaps.
yeah.
Like
Well,
something
it's
like
like
that. It
Christopher
shouldn't be the
Nolan takes it to
punchline.
the point where it's like CGI is used only when necessary.
Yeah.
I think the best special effects are the ones where it doesn't matter if it's CGI or if it's
Just whatever is
practical.
the best,
It's
whatever makes the most sense for
yeah,
whatever you're doing.
exactly. Yeah. That's a good way to put
You're
it.
not
Yeah.
gonna do Doctor Strange hopping the different dimensions practically.
Yeah.
Not
And
gonna happen.
and there's CGI. So like take Baby Yoda in or Grogu
Well, he's a
in
puppet
Men, but he's not.
sometimes.
But no, he's not.
Sometimes, right?
But
I
most
thought
of
they
the
made the
time
puppet
he's not.
CGI,
He's mostly
but they
CGI,
base it off the puppet.
but they
You have to have a
base it off a
reference point.
puppet. They have,
You have to
but
have your reference
not
point.
just a reference point, but they film it like they would if there was a puppet,
Right,
or they use a puppet
animations
when they're
like
filming, and
yeah,
they base the CGI off of if there was a puppet. So it's taking CGI, but
I love
learning,
this
but
tangent.
using practical filmmaking methods.
Yeah, yeah.
It's CGI artists learning from practical effects.
Right.
That's what makes it work so well. It's
Magic.
I don't think it has anything to do with CGI versus practical. It's about the filmmaking methods
Yeah.
and the mentality behind the artists. All right, sorry.
Mhm.
Next is Ronin from Marvel.
Oh, that's one hot. Well, I think multiple characters take that name, but
This one has a picture of Jeremy
most
Renner.
known as Hawkeye. Yeah.
Yeah,
When he becomes Ronin.
which is pretty cool. I like Ronin.
Yeah.
It's a cool character.
Cooler than Hawkeye.
Then next is Ogami Ito, aka Lone Wolf. It says in the Japanese film Lone Wolf and Cub is a storied, lengthy franchise. There have been several films based off of the manga series from the 70s. Ogami Ito is and his baby set off on a litany of adventures, and the Lone Wolf is fittingly a Ronin assassin.
And that's the manga.
I can't say I'm familiar with this one, to be honest.
Sounds familiar. I had a friend that, well, I used to read some of it. Mostly Berserk.
Frank Dux, Bloodsport, Jean-Claude Van
Oh, is
Damme.
that yeah, John
Yeah.
Claude Van Damme's character, yeah.
Nothing else to say there. It's Jean-Claude
Yeah, that
Van
movie's
Damme.
insane.
Yeah. Next is The Master Ninja. Trying to replicate the success of the A-Team, NBC created a show called The Master Ninja. Lee Van Cleef played an American named John McAllister who became a ninja master in Japan after World War II. That sounds terrible.
Wow, that's the most 80s thing.
Yeah. But if that
Oh,
sounds
yeah.
terrible, Surf Ninjas
Surf Ninjas.
says, look, Surf Ninjas is a ridiculous movie, even by 90s kid movie standards. It's a goofy and features Rob Schneider, Leslie Nielsen, and Tone Loc.
Okay, anything with Rob Schneider is an automatic nah, dog, for me.
But Leslie
That
Nielsen
gives me the creeps.
Yeah.
Except for white chicks. Or
Yeah.
no, not white chick. The hot chick. That's his best movie.
Yeah.
But it's still Rob Schneider. And it's still that era.
All right. Next is an actual banger. Ryu Hayabusa from Ninja Gaiden.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I played a couple of Ninja Gaiden games, and I played the third one, which is the worst one.
I've heard it's pretty bad. I haven't played it.
Extremely difficult and just broken mechanics.
Yeah.
But Team Ninja's made a good comeback with Rise of Ronin. Apparently, I do
I've
want to
heard,
check that
yeah.
game out, but I got Ghost of Tsushima. I have no reason to play any other ninja related game when I
Yeah,
have Ghost of Tsushima. I
right.
mean,
Because Ghost of
because
Tsushima is great.
you
It
get the
sets
best
up,
of the both worlds. You can be a
yeah,
samurai or ninja, or you can do both.
it sets you up so you can do either. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's awesome. This one, I think I want to get your opinion on this, on if this really counts.
Okay.
Power Rangers.
Then
It's on this list. I
it
don't know
depends
if
which
they,
Power Rangers.
yeah, I don't know if this count. I don't know if they, because I mean, they've definitely done versions of Power Rangers that are like more ninja based. But
Yeah.
like, think like Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, at least, like the traditional Power Rangers. Are they
Well, they
really
use
ninjas?
ninja-ish weapons
Yeah,
and costumes, sort of. But then they also turn into a big,
yeah.
robot
They're more superheroes than they
or
are
mech.
ninjas. They're just like, obviously,
Well,
because,
aren't Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles more superheroes than ninjas?
yeah, but they also use ninja techniques and tactics and stuff like that.
Right, but they're also
The
talking turtles.
Power Rangers fight people in rock quarries.
Well, and so did Japanese Spider-Man, which helped create Power Rangers.
Yeah, true. That's true. But by
A
that
lot of battles in
logic,
rock
is
quarries.
Spider-Man a ninja?
I think the Japanese Spider-Man was definitely ninja-esque, ninja adjacent.
He did get his powers
But
from a spider who was an ancient warrior.
from the planet Spider or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, yeah, we gotta cover that at some point.
His next one,
And the
I
whole
also,
point where he just guns down that room of men with the
oh,
Tommy gun or whatever.
what is his
And he's the
catchphrase? I am
emissary
an
of hell.
emissary from hell. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Great.
love it.
That's my favorite version of
I
the
love it.
character. He has to be in the next Spider-Verse.
I would be disappointed if he
I already
wasn't.
will be.
Um,
So
this
you do
next
have
one,
Power Rangers Ninja Steel.
yeah, okay.
Um, and then that was a 2017 Power Rangers.
I would kind of just
That looks like
classify Power
that looks
Rangers
like a
as like
YouTube fan made thing.
ninja
They're still fighting in
adjacent.
rock quarries.
Of course. Where else would they fight? That's that's how the Power Rangers work. I haven't seen that Power Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie, that like big budget one that came out recently.
Oh, the Michael Bay one? Or it's not Michael Bay, but it's Michael Bay-esque.
It's Michael Bay-esque. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard it's actually decent. But if I were to watch it, I'd be disappointed if there was not at least one fight scene in a rock quarry. Because that's Power Rangers. It's part of the charm at this point. Next on this list is Aki from the 1967 Sean Connery James Bond film You Only Live Twice.
Oh, and that's when he's in the Komodo, right? And
Yeah, this is
like for the whole movie. And he didn't want to be in the movie, but he contractually
yeah.
Was it this one was the one where he didn't want to be in it, but he was in it out of spite?
Like, something like that. Yeah,
just from the money.
What I know is it's the movie where like he has to work with a ninja clan. Like he has to like blend in and learn their ways. So they put prosthetics on him to make him look Asian. And it's very weird and uncomfortable
Really culturally insensitive.
and insensitive and a little bit terrifying.
Yeah.
Seeing Sean Connery. I love the Sean Connery Bond films, at least the good ones,
he is the OG,
like Dr.
right?
No.
So...
but this one is probably one of the worst Bond films ever made. It's just like, it's one of those movies where
you only live twice or you only die twice.
You only live twice. Only Die Twice is a different film. Bond films are confusing like that.
Oh yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
I'm looking.
It is one of those movies where when you get to the point where he's pretending to be Japanese for that entire section of the movie, you are just uncomfortable. Just it's pretty bad. But it's important for pop culture ninjas because it's one of the earlier examples in Western like movies and pop culture of bringing showing ninjas as a thing. So it is like an important moment in Western pop culture for ninjas, but it's also a really uncomfortable movie to watch. Let's see. We've only got two more.
What else you got?
This says Princess Zelda when she's as Sheik.
Oh, Sheik, yeah.
Yeah,
That's definitely a ninja.
yeah. And then
He's ninja adjacent.
Joe Musashi. The original Japanese word for ninja was, it says the original Japanese word for ninja was shinobi. In 1987, an arcade game called Shinobi came out, and it birthed a series
game.
of games, arcade console, you name it. They focus on a ninja, and that ninja is the first, in the first game that began the series is Joe Musashi.
I played Shinobi on Sega Genesis.
Nice. Yeah.
Difficult game.
Well, that's that list. Yeah.
All right, well, I hate to end this party early, but I do got to get going.
I think we've dragged it on long enough. Yeah.
And we've dragged it on. Anyways, hope you enjoyed this episode. We will see you, or you will hear us next week on the Odd Drunk Podcast. Probably doing Deadpool commentary.
Yes, probably.
So get ready.
All
Get
right.
ready for all the references and the jokes and the fourth wall breaking. And
That'll be fun. I do like that movie a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, talk to you later. I don't know. I don't know what our sign off is anymore or what it ever was.
I don't think we've ever had a specific sign off.
Yeah. After almost how many episodes do we have now? And we don't have like a real sign off.
170.
I used to
I don't know.
I used to
6.
say stay frosty. Stay frosty. Stay
frosty.
sober out there. Don't drink
Yeah.
and drive.
Yeah. Drink responsibly.
That's always a good one. Drink responsibly. Just like every alcohol ad you see.
Yes.
A lot of times now it's just like in little words at the bottom now. But
Because drink responsibly doesn't sell.
no. Nope. It sure doesn't. But here
yes.
it does.
This is not a test. I repeat, this is not a test. The Odd Drunk Podcast recommends you follow their Instagram and join their Facebook group for more fun content. To visit all of our current streaming and social media platforms, visit the link tree in the description. If you enjoy the show, we would be appreciated it if you would leave a review on Apple Podcasts. The Odd Drunk Podcast would like to remind you to drink responsibly and not to drink and drive.